Thanks for joining us. Dozens of elderly people from North and South Korea are preparing to meet each other for the first time in more than 60 years. They're members of families who were separated after the Korean War. The chosen individuals, around half from each side, are due to be reunited within the hour. Well, let's go straight to Seoul and Lucy Williamson, our correspondent there. Lucy, tell us about this extraordinary story.
Well, this is a very emotional moment for the families involved. It's been several years since relations between the two Koreas were good enough to actually allow these reunions to go forward. And with families on both sides aging, the window for getting them together has been shrinking. We spoke to one man who's preparing to meet his long-lost brother after more than 60 years. Wow, it's full of stuff. Mr. Lee was 12 years old the last time he could buy presents for his brother. Since they were separated, 64 birthdays have come and gone, 64 New Year holidays. Now the gifts he's taking to meet him are those for an old man, battling North Korea's harsh winter cold.
It's colder up north, so I've bought him a winter coat and some thermal underwear. And I heard that South Korean chocolate biscuits are sought-after treats there, so I'm going to buy him some of those and some medicines as well.
Mr. Lee's brother was just a teenager when he was taken by the North Korean army during the Korean War. He remembers him as being softly spoken and very kind. But the family has been apart so long that his older brother got Mr. Lee's first name wrong on the application form.
It's hard for people to understand what it's like when you've been separated so long, but it's a true miracle. I'm so elated to be reunited. All that was missing in my life was my brother, and now that I can see him again, I have no regrets whatsoever if I were to die tomorrow.
Footage of previous reunions shows the overwhelming emotion of meeting family again after a lifetime has gone by. But participants only get 9 hours to spend with their relatives, and UN sanctions ban the South Korean side from bringing luxury items like expensive watches, alcohol or electronic goods. Mr. Lee says he just wants to know what happened to his brother and thank him for being alive. For everyone like Mr. Lee, there are thousands of others here in South Korea who are waiting to reconnect with their families. The Red Cross has 70,000 names on its waiting list, and half of them are over 80. In the 3 years since the last reunions took place, many others have died. For those not chosen this time, there's some consolation in grieving together. This song, at a concert for separated families in South Korea, is about the pain of leaving family behind in the north. After 64 years of waiting, Mr. Lee says he can now die in peace. But there are many others on both sides of the border who will probably have to live and die without it. Lucy Williamson, BBC News, Seoul.
Lucy, it's a beautiful and emotional story that you've been able to tell there, but I wonder, politically, diplomatically, does it tell us anything more about North and South Korea at the moment?
Well, as I say, I think the fact that these reunions are taking place is a small but significant sign that relations are slowly, gradually improving. You might remember last year there was an attempt to hold these sorts of reunions. The North cancelled them with just a few days to go. So there was great nervousness actually here in the South leading up to today, wondering whether they would indeed go ahead. But so far, all seems to be going as planned. And as I say, that is a small positive sign for cooperation between North and South.
And there's no chance for either, for any of this to be a permanent reunion, is there? This is just for a couple of short, sweet hours, I guess.
I think there are many people here in the South who've expressed hope that these reunions will become more regular events. But yes, one of the most painful parts of these reunions is having to say goodbye at the end of them. Because, of course, once the South Koreans come back home, the ban on all communication with the North is still in place. There can be no phone calls, no postcards, at least not legally. And so it's very much a temporary reprieve from a barrier that's very much in place.
Lucy Williamson there in Seoul, watching these reunions, which are just about to take place in the next hour or so. Thank you very much for telling us that story.